Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank. First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Happy New Year, one and all. And it was a happy New Year celebration for the LSU Tigers, not so much for the New Orleans Saints. And for the Oklahoma Sooners, not so much for the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's talk first about LSU because that came first. And obviously this was Ed Orgeron's first audition as the permanent head coach of the Tigers. And if you had to give him a grade, you give him an A. LSU did a phenomenal job against a really good offensive football team, and they were efficient, I think is the right word, offensively.
Yeah, look, and, outstanding performance by Darius Geis, pretty good performance by Danny Atling, outstanding performance by Malachi Dupree. Was it perhaps his last game? We don't know. And whatever types of adjectives you can throw out there, put the defense at the top of the list because they absolutely shut down Lamar Jackson in that Louisville offense without a touchdown, 8 quarterback sacks. What else is there to say? Dave Aranda and the scheme he put together, and obviously he's got a lot of talent on that defense, did a tremendous job. And you thought that had a chance to happen, but I don't think in your wildest imagination could you have seen them holding Louisville without a touchdown and barely 200 yards of offense.
If they're going to be a contender for national honors next year, in my mind, they'll have to improve their offensive line as a whole. They're competent, but they need to be better. Their linebacking core is a concern with the people they don't have coming back and the lack of numbers coming in. And then quarterback play, while it was improved, it can still be better.
It can be, and it's going to be interesting to see, once Canada gets in here, gets his hands on things. Obviously, you've got the group of quarterbacks coming back, plus the signees that you'll have coming in. Exactly what he looks to do. I think it's going to be a wide-open competition in the spring, and that's going to be 15 critical practices to help shape what you're going to see out of this LSU offense in 2017.
Staying with college football, the Oklahoma Sooners, as I expected, handled Auburn relatively easily after Auburn started well. And as I've been saying, and you know this on our television show at Sports Nola TV for the past month and a half, Oklahoma's the one team that could beat Alabama. It's all about the time of the year, how you're playing at that time. They have the offensive weaponry to hurt anybody, and they showed that against Auburn. They're
really good. I mean, getting a chance to see Baker Mayfield in person and that whole offensive scheme, Westbrook, Pirine, Mixon as well. I mean, they've got some real talent. It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see how many of those guys come back because
most of them are.
If most of them end up coming back, that's going to be a team that's going to be way up near the top of the polls to start 2017.
Who's got a better offensive line than they have?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're all freshmen, sophomores.
Really good team. Now say this about Auburn, okay? Look, their quarterback gets hurt on the first series, tried to play through it, and that's the type of kid that he is. And then the second team quarterback, he gets hurt as well. So they're down to their third guy, who isn't necessarily a bad third guy. I mean, Jeremy Johnson was, being talked about as the next Cam Newton at the beginning of last year. So still in all, that's not what you expected to have to do if you were Gus Malzahn, is playing Jeremy Johnson in the second half of that game.
Yeah, speaking of Alabama, it's Alabama Clemson, of course, for the national championship, and no Lane Kiffin. His strange story continues as a coach on any level.
It is strange. It really is. And look, it's going to be interesting to see just how that in my mind is going to be the biggest story of this game, how Alabama deals with that distraction. They're going to try and tell you everything they can, and it's not a distraction, but the fact is, Steve Sarkisian's been an analyst, which means he has not been able to coach these kids. He could sit up there and watch film and, make suggestions and that kind of thing, but he can't coach players. And all of a sudden now, in 1 week's time, he's going to be not only calling the plays, but dealing directly with his quarterbacks in a national championship game.
The New Orleans Saints finished 7-9 for the third straight year, and 4 out of 5 times now. And word all over the place about Sean Payton, who's not totally dismissed this whole notion of him departing, although he's been more reassuring. I think that would be the right word.
Well, he's got a contract. He's got 4 years left on his deal. So if something's going to happen, it could still happen. The key word in his statement last night on his radio show was plan. I plan to, honor the rest of my contract. Okay, that's great. I plan on being here for our next video on Thursday, but who knows what may happen.
And I won't be.
Now and then. So who knows what may happen between now and then? Okay, Anything could happen. We all have plans, okay? Sometimes what do they say about the bets laid plans of mice and men? Right. Sometimes they go awry. So I don't know how many mice or men we're dealing with here, but that's the key word in my mind. He left himself an opportunity. If something else comes along, plans can change.
Not too much education for me. All right, where the New Orleans Pelicans are concerned, 4 consecutive wins, and that goes by the wayside at Cleveland. They had a real opportunity in this game. Kyrie Irving didn't play. Kevin Love got hurt. They're up going to the fourth quarter, and they can't score in the fourth quarter at all.
2 words, LeBron James. He was still on the floor. And, he's the best player on the planet for a reason, and took over that game when it mattered at winning time. And look, give the Pelicans credit. You're right. They had an opportunity to get one that probably you didn't expect to be able to get. And that would have been great to be able to continue that momentum. Atlanta comes here on Thursday. Then you head on the road for 5. But the interesting thing to remember is this. Pelicans have had a lot of success against the East this year. Basically, the entire month of January, with a couple of exceptions late in the month, is all against the Eastern Conference. So they've got a chance to make some hay, still sitting there really the thick of the race for that 8th spot in the West. For what that's worth you're going to lose to Golden State or San Antonio in the first round. So, but still, to be in that position, to be able to get yourself in the playoff hunt at this point after the start they had, I think is the best thing you could expect.
High school basketball district play beginning this week, which makes it more interesting. And, of course, later in the week, the All-State Sugar Bowl National Prep Classic, which we'll be covering, not only with stories, but we look forward to bringing you some games as well. So it's going to be a fun week of high school basketball, too.
Yeah, right. You can watch all 3 championship games, 2 girls brackets, 1 boys bracket, here Saturday at sportsnola.com. We'll have full details coming up on that later in the week, and a couple of games as well. We'll also re-air on WHNO TV 20 as part of the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. So great basketball week. Go check out the action at the Ilario Center and check it out right here at Sports Nola and also at WHNO.
Sports Nola TV, special edition, 6 p.m. Tuesday night. Watch it. Ricky, Brian, and the other guy. Hope you will. Have a good week.
We'll see you later this week.
That's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank. First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNoah.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.